Good morning. It's good to see all of you online today. I'm Jo Celine with the OUUC Tech Team. We are leading worship from several locations today. As the service moves back and forth between us, you will be able to see whoever is speaking if you put your screen on speaker view rather than gallery view. And you can see us singing together if you go back to gallery view. We'll also be using the chat box throughout the service to post the song lyrics and to share joys and sorrows. You can turn the chat off and on by clicking the chat icon, so you might want to find that now. We can expect some tech glitches as we continue to do all we can to optimize our connections. We appreciate the grace. As we all remember, it's about connection, not perfection. One suggestion is if you are having trouble with your reception, you might try turning off your video to see if that helps. Last, I hope you will find a candle or a chalice. In a moment, we can light them together. Thank you for your grace and adaptability as we all learn together.
Good morning. Let's sing together. We're going to sing hymn number 347. Gather the Spirit. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, the trials by light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured by love and conscience refined, the body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, well gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Let's switch to the Till hymn book and we'll sing hymn number 1007. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my soul. Thank you for singing this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation online worship service. The OUUC community comes together in the mutual promises and possibilities of our covenant. We commit to live out our mission to be a liberal religious community that opens minds, fills hearts, and transforms lives. We're so glad that you are here. My name is Sarah Lewis, and I am Director of Community and Faith Development. Stepping in as Plan B today for Janet Spencer, a member of our worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our minister, Reverend Mary Geer, and Troy Fisher, our music director. We give thanks to the tech team for providing technical support today, and thanks to Darlene Sarkala, our administrator, for keeping us informed and connected. And we are so grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. We welcome each of you to this celebration of love and wonder and to this congregation. After the service, we invite you to stay online for a virtual coffee hour. This is a chance to gather with a small group to say hello and check in. We'll offer more information at the end of the service. I want to draw your attention to the order of service, which includes our announcements available on the website. Please join us this Thursday at 7 p.m. for our regular evening of spiritual practice. This week, I will be leading us with movement and dance and theater practices, so come prepared to move. This will be an evening to shake it off. The login information can be found on the OUC website. This month is our stewardship drive, when we revisit our commitment to community, generosity, and our hopes for OUUC. Plan to join Troy Fisher, guest musicians, and musicians from the OUC congregation for the Stewardship Serenade, an online event featuring music and community on Saturday, October 10th at 4 p.m. It will be a fun evening with songs for our times. The login info is on the OUC website. There are many opportunities to stay connected to our community because social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. Please check the website regularly. If you have questions or need help, please check in with a staff member. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is good to be together.
Good morning, everyone. If you have a chalice or a candle, please feel free to join me. As this morning and every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. We light our chalices together with these words from the Reverend Scott Taylor. What is it about this flame that opens our ears, opens our hearts? Come back to your center, it calls. Return to that quiet space we long for and that longs for us. From the stillness, always a voice arises, if we let it. So come, friends, let us listen once again. Let us find that flame inside that guides us back home. Our opening words this morning are adapted from Listen by Jessica Purple Rodella. Listen. Listen to the silence. Listen to the wind. Listen to the stars. hear trees. Dance. Dance to the beat of your neighbor's heart. Sing. Sing and hum a wordless song to the tune of your rushing blood. And pray. Pray with a fervor that gives you chills in July. Shout your prayer like a howl. Howl till the sound of your soul touches the clouds and haunts the moon. Come, let us howl our hallelujahs. Come, let us pray and sing and celebrate. Come, let us worship together.
Let's do sing together. Hymn number 1059 out of the Teal Hymn Book. May your life be as a song. May your life be as a song, resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Let's do it again. May your life be like a song, resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. One more time. May your life be as a song, resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Just the last part. Ever dancing circles in the night. Last time, here we go. Ever dancing circles in the night.
There is a Sufi teaching story that explores the nature of abundance. And in this story, there was a seeker who went out into the woods and sat. And sitting there in the woods, the seeker saw a bear with a mangled foreleg. It was so injured that it could no longer hunt and get food for itself, and it just sat there. But even as the seeker watched the bear, it saw a fox come running by with prey in its mouth that the fox was eating. But as the fox had its fill, it dropped what was left in front of the bear and then ran on. The seeker continued to watch, and the next day the same thing happened. The fox came by with its prey, and having eaten all it wanted, it dropped what was left by the bear and ran on. The seeker was amazed. Why, look at the way that God provides. The seeker thought, I too will wait for God to provide. And so the seeker went into a cave and sat and waited for God to provide. And they sat and they sat and they waited and they waited. And on the fifth day, when the seeker was practically fainting with hunger, the seeker suddenly heard a voice that said, "Oh, you foolish one who heard the wrong message. Do not imitate the wounded bear. Instead, go out and follow the example of the fox." And so ends this story. And now we will hear a message from our stewardship team.
pandemic, when we lost the ability to gather in person, we found other ways to stay connected. We practiced adaptability and resilience. People reached out across miles and years to connect with family, friends, people they'd lost contact with. We found new ways to stay in relationship.
Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation online worship service.
Let's do it again. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of Levi, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come.
I like this quote because it really made me think. And even though this book is in a totally fictional world, it still had commentary on our own.
Tracing his face, strangely he feels at home in this place.
Oh, wonder how many goodly creatures there are here, how beauteous mankind is, a brave new world that has such people in it.
Indeed. Look at your screen. All those goodly and beauteous creatures that we have in our congregation.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. It's Melanie Ransom.
Thank you so much, Annette, for that nice introduction.
Oh my gosh.
It's Jenny. It's Jenny Taylor.
Now it is even more important that we set aside time and space to remember who we are, individually and collectively, to remember what our values are, individually and collectively, and to remember that we are not alone. We came into community this morning, bringing all that is our lives these days. In this space, we draw on the strength of our community to listen deeply to all that we bring here with us. We take the time now to share some of the joys and sorrows that have been offered. If you would like to send a joy or sorrow in this week, please look for the link and the online worship page on the website, and we'll bring it into the service next week. Today, you will hear a drum beat as we share our joys and sorrows. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of this community. So right now, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out as we open our hearts to receive all that is in our community today. This from Joyce Steckler. Bernie Steckler was given the gift of life, and sadly, he has had to give it back. He fought the good fight against his numerous health issues, but he was forced to give up the fight. He felt blessed to have you, your help, and love in his effort to continue on. Bernie now rests in peace. Thanks to all of you. And Joyce, we send you and your family our love. And this morning, we send care to those suffering with the illnesses, all the illnesses of this time, including those with COVID-19. May President Trump and all those in his inner circle recover quickly. And may this experience offer the opportunity for compassion and care for the greater good. I invite you now to enter your sorrows in the chat on your screen. We'll do joys in just a moment. Let's hold all of the sorrows first. And as we take in what is posted, let us listen to the heartbeat and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. I place a stone in the water for all of the sorrows that have been shared. And in the midst of all that is, we look for moments of joy. I invite you now to enter your joys in the chat on your screen. As we take in what is posted and listen to the heartbeat of our community, let us reach out our hearts in celebration to all those who share. We'll place a stone for our joys in the water of our community. And one more stone placed in the water for all of the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts and that remain unspoken. I invite you now into a time of reflection, meditation, and prayer. Infinite web of life, sweet spirit of love, great mystery that hears our deepest longings. In the stillness of this moment, may we hear the heartbeat of our community and may it beat clear and strong. In the quiet of this moment, may we feel the well of compassion that is in each of us. It remains even when we forget. In the silence of this moment, may we hear the voice of hope. We may not have certainty, but we have possibilities. May we tune our ears and hearts to listen deeply to community, compassion, and hope. Let us hold a moment of silence together.
Let's sing together, Find a Stillness, hymn number 352. Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find a silence, hold a silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Our prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we know as sacred in our lives and in this world. Each Sunday, we practice gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by your regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values and principles. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is Cielo. Cielo stands for Centro Integral Ejecutivo Latino de Olimpia, and Cielo promotes community, self-sufficiency, and leadership to Latinos in the South Puget Sound. We have a video to share more about their important work.
I apologize, folks. I cannot find that video. Can we post the text?
Yes.
I think I've got it.
Do you? I apologize.
We can't hear the sound, Joe.
Latino Educational Center of Olympia. We come to you with gratitude. Hello, my name is Julio Rios, and I am the Executive Director at Cielo. Cielo stands for Interrail Latino Educational Center of Olympia. We come to you with gratitude for partnering with us in our mission of bringing to our beloved Latino community the opportunity of self-sufficiency, leadership, empowerment, and hope. In these troubled times, we consider the work of our team as an extension of traditional frontline workers. We face significant needs of the underserved population that are not eligible for emergency assistance. We're doubling our efforts to ensure our students are getting the tools for an online fall semester, and we help parents to navigate in this educational system. We also provide the pathway of healing with our dedicated group of advocates to the victims of crime, sexual assault, and domestic violence. We're proud to be among the only agencies that have these services for the indigenous population of the South Sound in their language. And finally, by coming before you, we strive to bring cultural competency to all other loving organizations that are willing to extend love and compassion to others. We do our work in the belief of the dignity of every person, the search for justice, equity, and compassion in all human relations. With these same foundational principles, we can work together for a brighter future despite this apparent darkness. Again, thank you for your support, and do not hesitate to reach out to us through our social media to find ways to collaborate with us. Thank you.
Please note that you can participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that will appear on your screen in a moment. You can also mail a check to OUUC. Our community partners continue to need our financial support. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you for your generous gifts. And I want to offer my deep gratitude to all of the ways that we ask for help and our community is there and has our backs. It is working together that allows us to come together this morning. And I want to assure you that Janet Spencer, who was the celebrant planned for today, is just fine. It's just that the internet is out in her entire neighborhood. And so she wasn't able to join us this morning. And so we hope that Janet's internet will be alive again soon. And with gratitude for the plan B that we always have ready, here we are. Today's reading is offered by the Reverend Joan Javier Duval. We might not automatically think of a church community as a place that is risky. In fact, you might feel like it's the opposite of risky. It's safe. It's comfortable. And it is certainly those things at times. But I believe that this community is also a place of risk. It is a place for taking risks. It is a place of risk because it is a place where we ask one another to make commitments. It is a place where we learn together what it means and what it feels like to follow through on commitments, and where we in fact make some of those commitments together in communal action. And when we are committed, we are in danger of both making change and of being changed. We risk transformation. This ends our reading.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When we breathe in, we breathe in peace. When we breathe out, we breathe out love. When we breathe in, we breathe in peace. When we breathe out, we breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
The Persian poet and mystic Jalal al-Din Rumi said, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." I don't know about you, but I'm finding it hard to hear that voice right now. The world is a noisy place, and that helps make my mind a noisy place. And the world isn't just noisy right now, it's screaming. People are screaming, politicians are screaming, the earth is screaming, maybe even some of us are screaming. One of the descriptions that I heard of recent political events that has stayed with me is this: it was a hot mess of a dumpster fire on a train wreck. And when we hear screaming, fear kicks in. Our minds scream, danger, danger, and our bodies go into survival mode. We react to protect ourselves and our loved ones. So just notice right now, hearing my words, how is your body feeling? Take a minute to tune into your body, your neck and shoulders, your core, your arms and legs. Do you feel tightness, tenseness? What are your emotions? Are you afraid, angry, weary? What is your mind telling you? And where did your thoughts go? And so I invite you to return here. Breathe with me. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice where you are just in this moment. Look around. Notice that you are safe. You are here. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love.
When we breathe in, we breathe in peace. When we breathe out, we breathe out love. When we breathe in, we breathe in peace. When we breathe out, we breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Thank you, Troy. One of the many blessings of this community is that there are people with a variety of opinions, and that includes political opinions and beliefs. One member that I talk with knows that we don't always agree on politics, but that we remain in relationship, valuing that relationship. And one thing that we do agree on is that it matters who and what we listen to. So in this month, as we explore the spiritual theme of deep listening, I'm going to invite you to listen. And I want to offer you permission to be selective in your listening. It matters who and what we listen to. Loudest doesn't mean wisest or clearest or most life-giving. It just means loudest. And it may drown out that voice that doesn't use words. So this month, I invite you to listen deeply and to listen selectively. Before we can listen at all, we must first bring our awareness to the present moment. You may know by now that I do that easiest and quickest by tuning into my breath. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. This phrase is from a song in our hymn book that I turn to when I need it, like when I'm in turbulence on an airplane, or just when there's turbulence in life. There are many centering practices that help us come back to the now. And I invite you to the Thursday evening spiritual practices where we experience a whole range of those options together. And once we are present in this moment, we can turn our attention to listening. But what does it mean to listen deeply? Well, earlier this year, wellness consultant and coach Naj Beheshti made a distinction between three kinds of listening. First, there is listening to respond. This is when we listen with an ear to how we will respond to what is being said. Usually what this means is that we are focused on our own thoughts and feelings rather than what is being said or not said by the other. Rather than really listening, we are preparing to respond. The second kind of listening is active listening, or listening to understand. This is when we are present, fully present to the other person, setting aside our own thoughts to focus on the other with the intent to truly understand another person. This is the kind of listening that has a long tradition in counseling, where a therapist creates a safe, non-judgmental space for someone to tell their story, to share hard feelings, and to be heard. And it is often in that space that people can be open to transformation. I learned this kind of listening first in my schooling as a social worker. And when I started my program at the University of Hawaii back in the early 90s, the very first thing that we learned to do was to listen. My class spent our first 6 weeks together practicing listening all day, every day, 5 days a week. It was hard work, and it was crucial to building this skill for me and for my classmates. It taught me many things, including that listening is a practice. Deep listening takes active listening to yet another level. When we listen deeply, we listen to learn. Deep listening takes all of the skills of active listening, focused attention, non-judgmental, and adds what I might call a heart connection. When we listen deeply, we listen to the heart and experiences of others, the values of others, the true nature of others. Deep listening is active. It is a way to acknowledge and contain our feelings so that they don't destroy us or others. Deep listening allows us to hear what is underneath the screaming and to hear it without being consumed by it. And when we listen deeply, we not only offer space for others to be transformed, we open our hearts to the possibility of our own transformation. This is the kind of listening that I have learned in community, and especially in Unitarian Universalist faith communities. The spiritual practice of deep listening was also part of my training for the ministry. As often happens when I am pondering a spiritual theme and sermon, I've noticed the theme of listening in many places lately. I was reminded of the need for deep listening when we walked in downtown Olympia last week. The tech team is posting a photo that I took of a mural next to Browser's bookstore. It's a reminder that the work of justice requires deep listening. For those of us who are white, in order to be an ally for racial justice, we must listen to the voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. When we listen deeply, we hear the heart and experiences of others. We open ourselves to transformation as we work to transform the world. My hope for our community is that we create a space for deep listening, where we listen to the still, small voice within us, where we listen to others, and where we listen for the voice that does not use words. We listen to learn, opening ourselves to transformation and working together to transform the world. You might be wondering why we are so focused on spiritual practice when the world is screaming. Shouldn't we be doing something? Well, the reason is simple and clear, but not easy. Who we are and how we are is what we bring into the world. And the world doesn't need more anxiety, anger, or fear. Of course, we feel those feelings. Our work is to feel them in a way that does not damage ourselves or others, and allows us to transform the energy of those feelings into something constructive. The world needs more calm, compassion, creativity, and curiosity. That is the work of justice. And with spiritual practice to ground us, we can bring those qualities and our hands into the world. Spiritual practices like deep listening can help us do this difficult and important work of transformation. The thing is, deep listening is risky. When we listen deeply, we are vulnerable to all the feelings that the stories and experiences of others evoke, and we open ourselves to change. As Reverend Joan Javier Duval says, in this community, we ask one another to make commitments. And when we are committed, we are in danger of both making change and of being changed. We risk transformation. Our story today shows an example of listening selectively and at many levels. The seeker watches and listens intently to the interaction between the bear and the fox. And when the seeker listens to respond, they hear that God will provide for everyone and they simply have to wait. And so they wait. And as the seeker waits, they listen more actively, focusing their attention on receiving, opening to what they hope will come. And as the seeker moves into deep listening, listening with their heart to the voice that does not use words, they hear the deep wisdom that transforms them. There is abundance, and we create it for each other. In this month of exploring the spiritual theme of deep listening, we are also holding our annual stewardship drive. The ancient saying is that money talks. I wonder what would happen if our money listened. What if we listened deeply to our individual and collective values? What if we listened deeply to the hopes and dreams of this community? What if we listened deeply to the cries of the world and of this earth? Over the past year, I have worked hard to listen deeply to you, to our collective values, hopes and dreams, and the cries of the world, a world that is changing in ways that we can't even anticipate. What I have heard is a desire for deep connection and transformational justice. And that hasn't changed, even though so many things have. Based on that deep listening, I presented an audacious budget to the board. And the board said, yes, let's ask. This is who we want to be in the world. Opening minds, filling hearts, transforming lives. The board has made a commitment to this community, both financial and in service. Many of you have made similar commitments. My husband, John, and I have also made those commitments. Those of us who can are called to contribute more because there are those of us who cannot. The financial upheaval of this time has not affected all of us equally. I hope that you will listen deeply to your values and the values of this congregation, and then join us in making a financial commitment to the future of this community. I commit to Unitarian Universalism not because it is safe, but because we are courageous and vulnerable enough to open ourselves to transformation. I commit to Unitarian Universalism not just because of what we say and do, but because we invite questions and we listen deeply for answers and more questions. And I commit to OUUC because it is here together in spirit that we bring our courageous, vulnerable selves open to transformation and building beloved community together. When we gather in spirit, the song tells us that our separate fires will kindle one flame. May we kindle a flame of connection. May we kindle a flame of hope. May we kindle a flame of justice. May this be so. Blessed be, and amen. Let's take a moment to listen.
Let's sing together hymn number 112, Do You Hear? Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the heights and the plains, in the vale, on the main, in the sun, in the rain? Do you hear, Through the roar, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush, do you hear in the hush of your soul, of your soul? Hear the cry, fear won't steal, hear the heart's call to will, hear the sigh, startling trill, in your soul, in your soul. From the place where you stand to the outermost strands, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear, all the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers? They are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear, do you hear?
Will you join me in extinguishing our chalices with these words from John Saxon? Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It's calling to you and to me. It's calling us to greater wholeness, greater connection, greater service, greater love. It is calling us to heal the brokenness within ourselves, in others, and the world. It is calling us to live courageously and kindly, to speak our truth in love, and to bend the moral arc of the universe toward justice. It is calling us into the community. May we be that community.
Let's sing together our unison benediction. How bountiful the blessings that surround us. We come together grateful to be one. As we go forth to greet the day's unwinding, the circle grows as pebbles thrown to pond. And know that Spirit guides us on our pathways, abiding in our hearts the bond of love.